What's going on, guys? I'm Tim Kelly. This is Phillies Stoplight on Pattison for May 6th, and the Phillies are going to begin a 3-game series this evening in Tampa, and for the first time ever during the regular season, it's actually in Tampa because they're playing at George M. Steinbrenner Field as opposed to the Trop, which is in St. Pete. We'll get to that series in a minute. I want to look back first at some comments Bryce Harper had. The Phillies took 2 out of 3 over the weekend from the Diamondbacks, but they lost Sunday in extra innings, and Bryce Harper hit a home run in the first inning of that game. He was on base 3 times. He didn't come through in the 9th or 10th, though, so while a lot of guys would view that as a potential get-right game, a game where they're headed back in the right direction, Bryce Harper made some interesting comments after the game. He said, quote, "Yeah, I'm just frustrated on a bigger level. I just want to come through for the team and play well. Obviously, I've been through ruts in my career, gone through ups and downs, worse than I'm on right now, but just frustrated for the fans, frustrated for the team." And we posted those comments, the video of those comments on Pattison, and I saw a few people say, wow, this is weird timing, kind of like insinuating that the media is making a big deal out of something or whatever. But this really wasn't the case. Bryce Harper kind of took the conversation in this direction to say that he was frustrated because most guys, you get on base 3 times, that's a successful day almost regardless of what happens. You did your job, especially when you hit a home run. But Bryce Harper obviously holds himself to a higher standard, and I think that's one of the things, whenever he's in a stretch like this, which it seems like happens maybe once a year, you kind of get these people that come out of the woodwork suggesting that he's disappointing or hasn't lived up to the contract, which is obviously not even remotely true. But you get those people that come out of the woodworks that are all of a sudden huge Bryce Harper critics, and I've known all along, and everyone else has been blinded, whatever the case. But the person that holds Bryce Harper to the highest standard, there is a ton of external pressure. There's a ton of internal pressure. Even the Phillies, obviously, are very reliant on Bryce Harper. But the real internal pressure comes from him, and I think he's somebody throughout the course of his career that's put more pressure on himself than has ever been on the outside. And to a degree, I think that's what's made him so successful. It also is what makes him, I think, very frustrated when he goes through stretches like this, where a lot of people would look at this and say, dude, you were on base 3 times. You hit a home run. You're coming out of it. You're going to be good. But that's not how he's wired. And again, that's part of what has made him great. As recently as last homestand, he hit 3 home runs in 4 games between the Giants and Marlins series. Looked like he was about to go on a hot streak home run-wise. But then between April 19th and May 3rd, Harper went 9 for 51, which is 176 batting average. Just 4 extra base hits, 0 home runs, and 12 strikeouts. So it was disappointing, and obviously it stands out on a team like this. As much as we talk about slug with the Phillies, they haven't done a ton of it outside of Kyle Schwarber. Now, Max Kepler's been hot recently. That's a good sign, but JT Realmuto doesn't hit home runs with the frequency he did a few years ago. Nick Castellanos will hit home runs, but he's not a home run hitter. Alec Boehm obviously is yet to hit a home run this season. Trey Turner has been great in terms of making contact and getting on base, and Rob Thompson had some interesting comments in a story Anthony Sanfilippo did on Pattison over the weekend, talking about how he wants Trey Turner to have like a 380 on-base percentage. He's not worried about the power, and I think there's some validity to the idea that maybe Trey Turner became a little too home run dependent post-World Baseball Classic. But you have been counting on him to hit 20, 25 home runs in that range the last couple years. And if he is more of a contact guy, that puts more pressure on pieces like Bryce Harper, and I think it stands out more when he's struggling right now because you just don't have a ton of other power production at this moment. So my general thought is Bryce Harper is going to be fine. He's going to come out of this, but the Phillies need him to come out of this. They need him to be a 35-ish home run guy and someone that drives in a ton of runs, because if you're going to have Bryson Stott at the top of the lineup, not really a home run hitter, Trey Turner also being a table setter, that's great, but you have to have people that drive them in consistently. And you've had some problems with that so far outside of Kyle Schwarber, especially because of Alec Boehm's struggles so far this season. So something to think about. Another thing to think about, and it ties into the Alec Boehm thing, Otto Kemp is shining in AAA. He's hitting .350 with 10 home runs. I did a story that ran Sunday right before he had another great game. He was the International League Player of the Month, I believe. He was one of the Phillies Players of the Month. I get all those specific niche, never know how to say that right, awards. I get those. They all kind of run together to me. Bottom line is he's had a great start to the season. He's hitting .350, 10 home runs, 1.156 OPS. It's a great story. I mean, he's 25 years old. He went to a D2 school. He had some injury problems in high school and college. The pandemic hurt him. They lost a season. He had a blood clot issue at one point. So he's not like young in the sense that you think of a prospect coming up, oh, they're going to be 22, 23. He's 25. And he's never really been like a heralded prospect. I think most of us have him in the top 15 for the Phillies, but he's not like a top 5 guy. But the numbers, you look at them right now, and it feels like he's borderline forcing their hand here if he continues to hit anywhere like this over the next few weeks. He can play all over the diamond, but in talking to Preston Manningly, who before becoming the GM this past offseason was leading the Phillies player development system, he thinks his best position is third base. Well, the Phillies have Alec Bohm there, and my inclination is that even though Alec Bohm does have 2 remaining options, they could, in theory, send him to AAA. I don't think they're going to do that anytime soon. They're going to give him an extended chance to try to hit his way out of this. He was an all-star a year ago. I think maybe that's going to be looked at, that stretch is going to be looked at as something of an outlier, but clearly he's much better and has shown to be much better than he is right now. Whether he ever achieves that again in Philly or needs a change of scenery, I don't know. I felt like after last season, after you don't play in Game 2 and you don't have a great playoff series, you kind of regress in the second half. It felt like maybe things had run their course. Ultimately, though, the Phillies didn't find a trade partner. He's back, and they need Alec Bohm to get going. If he does not, though, or if Weston Wilson doesn't get going, or there's another injury somewhere else, Otto Kemp is someone at AAA. Rob Thompson said he views him more as an infielder. He has played a little bit in the corner outfield spots. I'd be pretty surprised if he plays there, but who knows? I mean, if Weston Wilson were to get injured, or he homered Sunday, but if he doesn't perform up to the expectations, maybe Otto Kemp is somebody you bring up and he becomes a guy that once in a while you play in left field. I don't know. But right now he is kind of stuck in a situation where he's playing great at AAA, but he's not like a heralded prospect that you're like, we need to find someone to send down to make room for this guy. And his best position being third base does not help him because Alec Bohm is there. And as much as he struggled, I think the Phillies are going to give him that leeway. But it's a story to follow nonetheless because you have a player performing really well. I don't think he's someone that would headline a trade in the summer, but maybe he becomes a piece that is a secondary piece in a trade if you feel like you don't have a path forward for him, but somebody else could. So it's just a great story. I mean, undrafted, D2, like really cool story for Otto Kemp. And he's certainly, at the very least, the Phillies are well aware of what he's done so far this season. The Phillies will begin a 3-game series this evening in Steinbrenner Field. I've been there for spring training. It's where the Yankees have spring training. It's right next to Raymond James Stadium, which is the home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So great spring training facility. And I know they've made some slight tweaks, but this was obviously because of Hurricane Milton, like a last-second plan because the roof got destroyed and they couldn't make it an outdoor stadium because they don't have drainage, and it's just a terribly outdated place. Steinbrenner Field is a nice spring training facility. I don't think it's up to being a major league stadium, and it may only be that for one season. And the Rays have an interesting schedule this year. They have a bunch of home games staggered in April, May, and like June and September. In August, or July and August, they have, out of like 50 games, they have like 15 home games. So it's a really strange schedule, but playing outside in Florida is not for the weary, and it really isn't something you want to do because you're going to have issues with rainouts and rain delays and everything. So I'm interested to see just kind of how the experiment goes this year playing outside in Florida. But Tuesday, Zach Wheeler, Tuesday being today, Zach Wheeler goes against Drew Rasmussen. Wheeler 3.48 ERA, Rasmussen 2.64 ERA. Wednesday, Christopher Sanchez, who was once traded by the Rays for Curtis Mead, he goes against Shane Baz. That should be a good matchup. And then Thursday, Jesus Luzardo gets the ball for the Phillies. So the Rays are an interesting team. Junior Caminero is someone I like quite a bit, but I don't think their lineup is particularly good. Ha-Sung Kim, who's someone I thought if the Phillies had traded Alec Bohm, maybe could have been a fit for them in the offseason. I don't believe he's back yet. So their pitching is interesting, but in their bullpen, I believe, has been pretty good. But they are not a team that has a great lineup from top to bottom, especially if they have one or two guys that go into a slump, into a dry period. So this, in theory, is a series where the Phillies should at the very least win it. You have three really good arms going, as you do in pretty much just about every series. As much as Steinbrenner feels new to a lot of teams, it's not new to the Phillies. They're there in the spring. That part should be relatively easy to get accustomed to. And I'm sure it's not great weather right now. I'm sure it's humid there as it is in Philly. But it's not like you're there. If you were there a month from now, you'd really be worried about, man, this is going to be brutal to play out there. Right now, I think you should be fine in Florida. So will be a fun series, and I will check back with you guys on the next episode of Phillies Stoplight after this series.